So we got our wild 2-episode premiere for Dexter Resurrection. In case you're new here, I did post my episode 1 and episode 2 recap and review. They're up on the channel. Please go check them out and let me know your thoughts. But we did get another trailer for what to expect on this upcoming season. So today we're gonna break it down a little bit, talk about some of the scenes that we got, and let's just get right into it. I'm Pamela, welcome back to the channel. So far I am absolutely loving this season. If you've seen my 2-episode breakdowns, then you know that I'm just loving the tone of this season so far. It definitely feels like the original Dexter compared to New Blood. Dexter New Blood definitely felt a little bit different, and I feel like we're getting back to basics. But after the 2-episode premiere, we got a brand new trailer and there's some crazy scenes going on and I want to talk about it. So it opens up with Dexter saying, "My path can only be walked alone, but who says I can't meet a few folks along the way?" And we see a bunch of clips of all of the other killers that we know Leon Prater is sort of collecting. He has this gang of serial killers that we have yet to meet. So hopefully that happens in episode 3. At least some of them we get to meet in episode 3, I'm hoping, but possibly episode 4. Dexter also says second chances are for taking. So I am so looking forward to getting into the whole storyline with Leon Prater, some more of Charlie Uma Thurman. We've already got some of her in the first 2 episodes, but like just a little taste, and I am so excited to find out some more. And then we get a clip of Dexter stalking the character Red. We know that Red is confirmed to be the dark passenger killer. His real name is Ronald Schmidt, but he goes by Red. And I am working on a theory video for him, which I'm gonna film shortly after this video, so stay tuned for that. That will probably be up tomorrow on the channel. But Dexter says Red worked so hard to stay in the shadows, but there's only room for one dark passenger. So we know from episode 2 when Dexter finds out that Red's killer name is the dark passenger killer, that upsets Dexter, and I found that so funny. And he's actually refusing to call him the dark passenger. He's calling him the impostor. And in this trailer, Dexter breaks into Red's apartment just like we saw Charlie do in episode 1. And he sees the book that he has with all of the driver's licenses that are crossed out in blood. So clearly these are all of his victims, the drivers that he kills. And Dexter says in the trailer, each one is a good reason to take him out. And I do think that Dexter's going to finally kill him in episode 4, which we're going to talk more about in my theory video for Red. So next up in this trailer, Teddy calls Batista and says, "We got a hit on Dexter Morgan. He's in New York City." So we know from episode 2, Batista asked Teddy to track Dexter's truck. And we know that Dexter doesn't even have the truck anymore. It was in Harrison's possession, but in episode 2, he is looking to sell it to his friend Lance. So that is probably how Teddy got the hit on the truck, because Batista said, "Can you track it if it gets sold?" And from this trailer, I have a feeling that Batista went back to Miami initially because of the shirt that he's wearing. The shirt kind of gives me Miami vibes, like something that he would wear in Miami. He dresses differently when he's in New York. So I think Batista's gonna go back to Miami because Dexter escaped the clinic. And at this point, Batista doesn't know where Dexter is. So I'm thinking he might go back home and then he'll be on a next flight to New York City. And then in this trailer, we see Batista meeting Harrison at the hotel. I don't know what episode that's going to be, hopefully episode 3, but this trailer contains scenes from the entire season, so we really don't know when to expect certain scenes. Next up in the trailer, we see a wall with a map of New York City. There's photos of Dexter from when he was arrested in Iron Lake, and there's photos of Harrison on the street. And there's like a newspaper clipping that says body chopped in 9 pieces, which we know is Ryan, Harrison's first victim, which the 2 detectives are investigating. But here in this trailer, this wall also has a photo of Dexter. So I'm wondering, is this a part of Batista's investigation, or is it a part of Claudette's investigation, Detective Wallace and Oliva? I really don't know. It could belong to either of them, or maybe they begin working together. We know that Detective Wallace is going to further investigate Harrison. Batista's clearly looking into Dexter, and Batista's going to finally meet up with Harrison, so maybe Batista and Detective Wallace join forces? I don't know. And then Harrison says to someone that we don't see who it is, he says, "You're not the only one who tracked me down." And I have a feeling that he's talking to Dexter here and telling him that Batista found him. Trailers can be misleading and they sort of stitch together different scenes, so they might want you to think that he's saying it to Batista, but I really think he's talking to Dexter about Batista. So like Dexter obviously tracks down Harrison, they're gonna reunite at some point, and I think Harrison's going to be filling in Dexter, catching him up on things and say, "You're not the only one who found me, Batista also found me." And then Batista says to Harrison, "Sorry Dexter wasn't the guy you thought he was. I have a similar experience." And Harrison says, "With your dad?" And Batista says, "No, with yours." So I am so excited for this scene. It takes place in a restaurant, and Harrison and Batista are going to be talking about Dexter, and I wonder what else they're going to talk about. I mean, we know that Batista is on to Dexter as the Butcher, and from their initial meeting in episode 1, I think Batista fully believes that he's the Butcher. My first thought seeing the full-length trailer that we got at the end of May, like over a month ago, I was thinking that Batista wasn't really believing that he's the Butcher. Like, he was kind of saying, "Chief Bishop said you're the Butcher, like, she's crazy for thinking that." That's what I was getting from the trailer. But after the first episode with Batista, I think he fully believes that Dexter's the Butcher, like, already. There's no doubt in his mind. So when he's talking with Harrison and he's saying, "I'm sorry Dexter wasn't the guy you thought he was," he's referring to him being the Butcher. And then we get a quick clip of Leon Prater getting interviewed, but they really don't give us much, and as you guys know, we have yet to meet him in the first 2 episodes. I'm thinking we might get a little bit of him in episode 3, but I don't think Dexter meets Prater until episode 4, and we're gonna talk more about that in my red theory, my dark passenger theory video. But we see Leon and Dexter meet, and Leon says, "I'm a huge fan. I couldn't presume to have the imagination to do what you and the others do." And we see a few more quick flashes of the other serial killers. And like I said, although we might finally get to see Leon and some of the others in episode 3, I'm thinking Dexter does not meet them until episode 4. And then we see a few different clips of Dexter killing, so we are going to have multiple victims this season. And we do know that the Bloodslides are back. They're making a return this season, but for some reason in this trailer, they look extra large, and I don't know why. And then Dexter is talking to Harrison in what looks like his new apartment, and Dexter says, "I have so many reasons to kill. You're my reason to live." I cannot wait to see Dexter and Harrison reunite. I have a feeling it's not until the second half of the season. And then we get Detective Oliva saying they found porcelain dust in the cranial wound of the victim, which we did hear him say in episode 2. So that is how Claudette knows what the murder weapon was. She knows that it was the lid of the toilet tank. And Claudette says, "Find every piece of surveillance we can on Mr. Morgan." And it shows footage of him in the elevator with Ryan and Shauna. So this is not good for Harrison. I don't know, Dexter might have to take out a couple of these detectives. I don't know how they're gonna get out of this, but then again, Dexter got out of killing Logan in Iron Lake, so they're just lucky like that. And then we see the 2 detectives and, you know, one of the hotel managers that they keep meeting with, they're going down in the service elevator, which is headed to the kitchen. Dexter took the same elevator down to the kitchen when he was investigating Harrison's kill room. So this is not good. They're making their way down to the kitchen where Harrison killed Ryan, and he cleaned up pretty well other than the spot of blood on the ceiling, which Dexter did take care of. He removed it from the ceiling, but who knows what else Harrison missed when he was cleaning up. I would like to think that Dexter would have seen it and taken care of it, but you just never know. And Claudette says to Harrison, "Now is the time to give us your real alibi." And then we get a very quick shot of Dexter standing in front of what looks like an incinerator, and I am thinking that this is how he's going to dispose of his victims in New York City, which is kind of like what he did in Dexter New Blood. He burned Matt Caldwell's body because obviously in Miami, he took his boat out and dumped the victims in the ocean, but he doesn't necessarily have that option here. I suppose he could, like, there's oceans in New York, but like, is he really gonna take the time to transport the body out of the city, find a boat, go out onto the ocean? I don't know. I'm thinking that he's going to incinerate his victims, especially because we've seen him do it before. And then we get a quick clip of Miami Metro. And at first I was wondering, is this a flashback? Is it current? Then if you slow it down, if you pause the clip, Quinn is in the background. Oh my god, you guys, I am so hyped for this. I have been hoping and praying that we would see Quinn. There's been fan speculation ever since Resurrection was even announced. Desmond Harrington, who plays Quinn, has kind of been teasing here and there, like just promoting the show. So fans have been speculating, like, is he going to be in it? And a couple days ago, he shared a promo video for Resurrection, and I commented on it and I said, we all know you're going to be in the show. And he hearted my comment. So I was wondering if that was a subtle little way of him admitting that he's going to be in the show. But yeah, it looks like Quinn in the background. He is on the phone in this clip, so I'm wondering if maybe he's on the phone with Batista. Clearly Quinn is in Miami in this clip. I don't know if he's going to make his way to New York eventually. I don't know if that is like necessary for the story. It might be Batista on the phone with him from New York, maybe talking about Dexter being the Bay Harbor Butcher. But I'm so excited. I have no idea what episode this is going to be, obviously, but I hope it's soon. Maybe they'll talk about Deb. We know in episode 1, Dexter tells Batista what happened to Deb. And then we do get a quick shot of Dexter grabbing Neil Patrick Harris's character. His character is named Lowell, and his serial killer name is the Tattoo Collector. And it looks like he's putting some sort of mask over his face. I don't know what it is exactly, but I'm assuming that's how he's gonna get him to pass out. Typically he uses the shot of M99, but maybe he doesn't have the same resources here in New York City. But yeah, I think it's safe to assume that Neil Patrick Harris's character is going to end up on Dexter's table. And again, this is going to play into the theory video that I'm working on, so stay tuned for that. We're going to talk about it a little bit more. And then this trailer ends with Dexter in a car talking to someone. We don't know who it is, but he says, "If I am who you really think I am, this can't possibly end well for you." And I don't know who he could be talking to. My initial thought is Batista, but I really don't know. It kind of seems a little misleading, like they might want you to think it's Batista, but if it's not him, I don't know who it could be. If you have any ideas, please leave a comment down below. But obviously this statement from Dexter is pretty threatening. Would he really be threatening Batista? Because that's almost like admitting that he's right about him being the butcher. And like, obviously Dexter doesn't kill innocent people, which Batista is innocent, but sometimes there's an exception to the rule because the #1 rule of the code is don't get caught. So sometimes you have to do what you have to do. But yeah, very exciting trailer, a lot of very interesting clips. I'm most excited for Quinn to show up, but definitely let me know your thoughts. Leave a comment down below. I love hearing from you guys. It definitely gives me inspiration for future videos, gives me ideas for theory videos. If you throw out a theory that I like, I might do a video on it, and you know, I'll give you a shout out in the video. So definitely want to hear from you guys. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here, because like I keep saying, non-stop Dexter content for the entire time this season is airing. And if you haven't already, definitely go back and check out my episode 1 and 2 breakdowns. Please also go follow me over on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, and I will see you guys next time.